Hey everyone, Elizabeth here from Finkelstein Memorial Library, and today is Fun with Food Week. So my favorite thing to do with food is bake. So today we are going to bake some homemade pretzels, and that's something I'm really excited to share with you guys because I actually learned how to bake homemade pretzels at my local library when I was your age. So this is something really fun, and it's something great that you can contribute to a holiday party or a birthday party or any sort of family gathering that hopefully we'll be able to go to when we can all get together in 2021. For years and years, I would make homemade pretzels and shape them into turkeys for Thanksgiving. So they're really versatile. You can make lots of different shapes, and I'm really excited. So let's get started. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to do is you have those 3 little individual margarine packets that were in your kit. So if you have a microwave, you could just microwave them. If you don't have a microwave, you're going to use a stove. You can just heat up that margarine on the stove. So the first thing we want to do, I just have a paper bowl here. So you want to dump those 3 out, put them in some sort of container or on the stove, and you want to melt them up, and then we're just going to set it aside so it can cool a little bit so it's not so hot, but it's still that liquid consistency. Okay, so the next things that we want to get out in the kitchen are a whisk and a big bowl, okay? So we're going to get our whisk in our big bowl, and then we're going to get 1.5 cups of warm water. It doesn't have to be hot, but warm. And we're just going to pour that right in to our big bowl. And then we're going to take out the packet of yeast that you got in your kit, and we are going to put it in, whisk it up, and then just leave it for a minute and let that settle. Okay, so I've let my yeast sit in the water for about a minute. So now we're going to whisk in 3 more ingredients. We're going to take our packets of salt, all 5 of them, we're going to whisk those in first. Okay, then we're going to do the sugar packets. And then last, we're going to do that melted butter that's still liquid, but it's cooled down a little bit. So we're going to whisk those in one at a time, and then we'll see what it starts to look like. Okay, so we have whisked our ingredients now. I don't know if you can see. A little bit, okay. Well, we have whisked our ingredients into our bowl. Next, we're going to take the bag of flour, and there's 3 cups of flour in here. So we're going to add a little bit at a time. You want to add about a third at a time. So you put in some flour, and then you want to mix it not with the whisk this time. Any sort of spoon. I'm going to use a wooden spoon. And you're going to want to mix up the flour and keep going until the dough is not sticky. So if it's still sticky, just keep adding the flour. And then once you get your dough, it's not sticky, and if you poke it, if it starts to bounce back, then you know you're in good shape. So then you can just stop. All right, so we're gonna add our flour a little bit at a time and just keep stirring it up. Okay, so now you should start to have some dough, big mound of dough. So now's the fun part. We wanna make sure that we wash our hands, and then we get to knead the dough, okay? So basically that's kind of like we just have fun, turn the dough over and over, and we want to make it go from this big mound to a nice ball, okay? So you want to put it on a floured surface. So if you have like a cutting board or an area of the house, of your kitchen that is where your parents might do baking, that's where you want to lay out the dough, and we just want to knead it. So if you've ever seen a cat knead, we're just gonna keep kneading with our hands. We're just gonna keep moving things around, kind of mixing it extra, pulling it apart. So just kind of, it's kind of hard to hold up while you're kneading. But so you keep moving it around until you have a nice ball, and then, okay, we're gonna put it back into our bowl when it's a nice ball shape, and we're gonna put a towel over it, and we're gonna wait for 10 minutes. Because we're actually gonna have the yeast rise. So right now you might be like, wow, this is a lot of dough. We're gonna have even more because the yeast is gonna rise. So knead for about 3 minutes or so. And then, see, even as I've been talking, my little dough is taking more shape. and it looks less like a mound. It's kind of looking more like a ball. So you want to keep kneading, and then once you've got that ball, you want to empty out the bowl if you have any extra flour or anything in there, and then you can just make a nice ball shape like this. And like I said, we're just going to put a towel on top of the bowl, set it aside for 10 minutes, and then you're going to see the yeast start to rise, and then the fun part starts. While we're waiting, we're going to want to do two things. We're going to want to preheat the oven to 450. So you can see I just got my preheating on. It's at 100 so far. And then we want to get 1 or 2 big baking sheets. I have a really huge one, but if you have 2 smaller ones, that's fine. And if you have those kind of baking mats, you can put those in. If you have parchment paper, I did parchment paper and I sprayed a little bit of oil just so that the pretzels don't stick, because we now know that the pretzels are really sticky. Okay, so when our dough is almost done rising, we want to put 9 cups of water into a pot, and we want to add our baking soda from the kit, and then we're going to let it boil because it'll take a little while to come to a boil. And then our dough should be done, and we should be on to the next step. So start boiling this, and then just leave it to the side. It's been 10 minutes. Let's see how our dough is doing. All right, definitely got a lot bigger in just 10 minutes. So now is the fun part. We are going to shape our pretzels, and you can shape them into pretty much any shape. Like I said, I have done turkeys in the past. You can do the traditional pretzel shape. Just make sure that you wash your hands, and it's going to be sticky. So if you have any jewelry on or anything, I'd take that off too. And just have fun with it and put it onto the baking sheet. Okay, so I just took a chunk here, and I guess we'll try to do one traditional pretzel, even though I usually like to do the silly shapes. This may even be too thick. So the first thing you want to do is you want to roll it out so we can get that shape going. And like I said, you can really do any shape you want. So you can really have fun with it. You can make different sizes of pretzels. We all know that there's thin pretzels, there's thick pretzels. Oh, breaking off. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can twist this into a pretzel shape. Let's see. It still might be a little too thick. Okay. That's kind of a pretzel shape. All right, and then maybe for this one I'll do something a little different. Maybe this one, something easy. Maybe I'll do a heart or something. So these are obviously really thick. They do not have to be this thick. I am just impatient. But you can roll them out and make them much thinner, and then you can make more pretzels. But for me, there we go. I'm gonna make a heart. Okay, we got a heart, we got a kind of pretzel. I'm kind of gonna make the hole there because I didn't really do that right. There we go. Okay, still have a few more bunches. What should we make next? Let's see. Well, we can make just about anything that we want. Maybe I'll make an E, because my name's Elizabeth, so that's fun. But really, any shapes you want. And definitely email us or tag us on Instagram, because I really want to see what shapes you guys made. As you can see, I'm not super creative. For pretzels, I usually just stick to turkeys. I guess I could make a turkey, even though it's past Thanksgiving time. Okay, got my E, my heart, my pretzel. Get a little more dough for the next one. Okay. Well, I mean, we could just make it simple. We could just do like, well, I could do a pretzel stick. Make it really simple. There's a stick. Oh, let's try to do something fun, like a cat. That's kind of like how I shape the turkeys when I do them. You know, you've got the doughy base, and then you just do the different parts of the turkey. But okay, there we go. We have a little kitty cat there. All right, we got a couple more. Let's see. maybe a square. Let's do a square. That'll be cute. Move that up. Okay. Or a triangle. Let's do a triangle. Because I think a square might become a circle, although my triangle might become a circle. So again, I'm really impatient, everyone. If you take longer time to roll these out, they will look thinner and probably a little better. But I just want to show you guys what we're doing here. Here, maybe we can do a little twist here. Some sort of like a little twist like this. Okay. Kind of. All right, last little piece. I don't know. Maybe we'll just make it a blob and call it a day. And let's check over here. Our baking soda and 9 cups of water are coming to a boil. So the next part that we're going to do is we are going to put our pretzels in, but only for about 20 to 30 seconds. You don't want to leave them longer than that. They'll start to get a metallic taste. So you really want to count to 20, count to 30, whatever you want to do. And then make sure you shake that excess water out, and we're going to put them back on the baking sheet. Okay? All right. I had a little bit of trouble. Some of my shapes started to fall apart in the baking soda bath, but I kind of just put them back together. The next part is we're going to take our little kosher salt in the little jar. We're just going to sprinkle it all over. And then we are ready to put our pretzels into the oven for about 13, 14 minutes on 400. Okay, so it's been about 13 minutes and our pretzels are golden brown. So we are all set. This recipe can make up to 12 pretzels if you make them smaller. Obviously, I made them quite big. And you can store these for about 3 days in a Ziploc bag or an airtight container. Thanks so much for making pretzels with me. And like I said, definitely send them to the pictures to us on Instagram or our email fmlchild@rcls.org because we really, really, really want to see what shapes you guys made. I hope you enjoyed.